everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got another book. I'll admit, understanding the Exceptional Sophia Beaufont series is kind of confusing because it seems there's lots of different names because of the fact that it was originally a mega book, and so depending on which version of the 24 books that you are reading, they can have different titles, just to make it confusing. Yes, so at the moment I think I've just started book 7. It tells you how quickly I'm going through these. But I'm here to talk to you about book 5, which is Chi of the Dragon. I've got it up on Amazon because I read this on my Kindle app. This blurb is short and sweet. Only 5 dragon eggs are left in the world. After they're gone, dragons and riders will be gone forever. Unless one woman can change everything. The only problem is that Sophia Beaufont doesn't know what to do. Magitech is seeking to ruin the world. Everything hangs in the balance, and not even Mother Nature can fix things. However, something is being orchestrated behind the scenes, and S. Beaufont strangely feels like it involves her. Can she help to save the Dragon Elite? Will Magitech destroy the planet? Dun, dun, dun! I'm seriously obsessed with this series now. I just want to know what happens. I kind of feel like books 5 and 6 are like the Halloween/Christmas episode. In both books you're discussing them getting ready for Christmas, but in book 5, Chi of the Dragon, there is a bit of a Halloweeny feel because kind of a haunted house type situation happening, which was one of my favourite parts of the book. But it's basically part of Sophia doing her training. So Mother Nature, as I just like flick my hair into my face, Mother Nature is obviously wanting Sophia to complete her training, but Mother Nature is also kind of stalling Sophia's training a bit as well, and says, oh no, you know, there is time for you to do your training, but you do also have to do other stuff as well. And Sophia does not trust Hiker, the head of the Dragon Elite, as far as she can throw him. She knows he's keeping on to secrets, and through those secrets she does actually find a bond with him. You look a lot back at Sophia's childhood. I definitely need to read the other mega book that was done, which was about Sophia's sister. I think that would be really interesting to read after this because it would be like reading a prequel. A prequel? It would be like reading a prequel. Seeing the way that she has that relationship with everybody else in the castle, and relationship with the castle itself, because the castle is its own character, it seems to have a personality, it sends Sophia on missions itself. This is even when Heiko's there going, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm doing something for the castle. He's like, okay. I do find it interesting that, because I've said before that I liked that there wasn't really any hint of romance. We are starting to get a small hint of one, but it's never explicitly stated. But you are starting to see a little bit of a hint of a romance with one of the boys. Is the fact that it's so subtle, but I feel like it's laying the groundwork for a possible romance. Which is interesting considering the fact that throughout the book so far, Sophia describes the boys in the castle as her brothers. Yeah. Basically, we're still on the mission of trying to track down Tad Reinhardt. Sophia starts to get a bit more information about Ainsley, the housekeeper, and her role before the Great War, and it's obvious that Ainsley has lost her memory of before, because I'm not sure if I mentioned it before that Ainsley has a scar on her face which gives away who she is whenever she shapeshifts and stuff, because she can shapeshift into other people to kind of eavesdrop like she does all the time. But the thing that gives away is the fact that even when she shapeshifts into other people, her scar is always on her head, and you find out more about Ainsley's backstory and what happened before the Great War, and the fact that it seems like the castle is involved in wiping Ainsley's memories. In this book you find out that dragon riders are twins. It feels very Sabrina the Teenage Witch to me, because if anybody else watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch when they were growing up, they'll know that one of the really, really big things, especially the later seasons of Sabrina, is that there was a family secret. The family secret was always brilliant, where it ultimately comes out that every member of the Spellman family was born with a twin. I believe that is exactly what the board spelled out in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She had a blackboard, but after she passed and got a witch's license, she then had to solve the family secret before she could carry on. And in that story, it's the idea that within, like, witches, with the twins, there was always a good witch and a bad witch. Similar kind of thing happening in the world of S. Beaufont and the Dragon Riders. All Dragon Riders are born as twins, and there's one good and one bad one. In the case of Sophia, her twin died in the womb, and so Sophia absorbed all of her twins' powers. You then also find out about other people's twins. And when I say other people, I mean Hiker, the head of the Dragonlate, where you find out who his twin is, and how that twin is a threat to them. Because it turns out that Hiker's twin evil brother is Tad Reinhardt. I'm telling you, this needs to be a series, TV series. Yeah, this is the Christmas episode with a bit of Halloween thrown in because of the haunted house section. Because Sophia learns of Hiker's secrets, she then kind of confronts him about some of the secrets that he's holding. And she's just there going, I know certain secrets about you. With some of the missions that I have done for the castle, I say mission for the castle, she's kind of manipulated by the castle into doing a mission, and then she like flips out on it. I'll go into that in a second. But yeah, it's through a mission that she does, trying to do a deal with the castle basically, that she ends up going back in time. The more I talk about this, the more insane it sounds, but stay with me. But yeah, she ends up going back in time, and she views Hiker in the House of 14, which was where she grew up. Yes, she views him before the Great War, telling the council a war is brewing, we need everybody's help, and the council just like laughing him off and just saying, we don't believe you. Even though he knew because of that twin psyche thing happening. Because as a twin, he feels what his brother is doing. This is such a bizarre thing to talk about, but it's just so good! But yeah, throughout the book, Sophia is trying to get everybody to celebrate Christmas properly with decorations, and all the boys, including Hiker, are saying, we don't celebrate Christmas, let it go. And when you think of it like that, you just think, God, girl, you know, if they don't celebrate Christmas, don't force them. But she's trying to put in a bit of festive tune, she's going to get them to adapt, basically. By the end of the book, once all the secrets are out and everybody's on side again, they let her celebrate a little bit. At the beginning of the book, the castle occasionally puts up decorations for Sophia, but then Hiker says, oh, are you going to do this for me then? And then all the decorations disappear. It's obvious that there's a relationship between the castle and Hiker, where even though the castle likes Sophia and will do stuff for Sophia, like decorating a bedroom and stuff, ultimately Hiker still has that control as head of the Dragonlate. So in this book, it's mainly getting Hiker's backstory and understanding his role as head of the Dragonlate and his role as Tad's twin and how he knows stuff. And the other stories going through are 2 missions of Sophia's in particular, where she makes a deal with the castle because she's still determined to find the complete history of the Dragon Rider book, because it's like Hiker's got an incomplete version. I think it's just literally just called like the incomplete history of Dragon Riders, but there's also a complete history of Dragon Riders. You get the idea that it's somewhere in the castle because there have been some little like chapters where it's just the castle hiding things. How to describe it? I don't know. It makes me think a little bit of Hogwarts with the idea of like the moving staircases and things, but in this case it's a case of the castle can like move doors and move corridors and things, because the castle does it to Sophia in the first book when she's first getting to know the castle, and it'll have her walk around somewhere and then suddenly she's just like, wait, I have absolutely no idea where I am. You find out that when the castle is pissed off at Hiker, the castle will move his office so people can't find it. I think there's an anecdote in one of the books where everybody is late to a meeting in Hiker's office because the castle has moved it again, and they're just like, oh, I thought I knew where I was, but the castle has just moved everything again. I do see little elements of kind of like maybe some inspiration from Harry Potter, and other fantasy books. I know Sabrina the Teenage Witch wasn't the first time to do it, but it's just the first thing that came into my mind, okay? But yeah, Sophia's relationship with Wilder, that's the one where I think we're getting like the hints of a possible relationship there, because it feels like Sophia and Wilder are getting closer and closer. They've done a couple of missions together, and it's come to a point where it's very, very subtle. It's very subtle, but it does feel like something's brewing there, and I think it's good that it's so subtle to begin with, because it means it's not as obvious to everybody. But the way they communicate with each other, it's just getting that closeness and establishing that friendship. It's probably so that it's not a bit out of left field when the relationship actually happens. I say this not knowing if there actually is a relationship on the horizon, just it feels like the stone's being set for it. I feel like I'm going on forever, but yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this book. It's so interesting to see where it's going to go next. Ultimately, as the twin brother, it's becoming quite obvious that Heike is the person to take down Tad, because it's his brother. And yeah, it's just, even though it's supposed to be like a group thing, because they're the elite, you know, it's, you know, they're supposed to be working together, but ultimately it does seem that it is going to come down to Heike doing it, and possibly without interference from the others. Let's see what happens in the next one. Yeah, so that's Chi of the Dragon from the exceptional Sophia Beaufont. Yeah, that's the picture of the front cover of this one. I'm just really, really enjoying this series. The other mission is her trying to find a present for her sister. But yeah, her brother is looking for a notebook that their father wrote in to give to Sophia's sister for Christmas. And basically Sophia says she's going to do what she can to try and find the book, but she doesn't even know where to start. When she goes and sees her fairy godmother says, "You know where it is because you were there." And Sophia kind of has to look inwards a bit, and then she later finds out it's stuck in a desk that they sold when her parents passed, and that desk has ended up in a haunted house, basically. So both Sophia and Lunis the dragon go to this house where they're just like, my god, the energy is here. And Sophia goes in on a mission. She's just like, I'm not going to interrupt anything, I'm just going to go and get the book and get out. And then she gets involved. She gets involved as she always does. She goes through, she sees the ghosts that are haunting this place, the memories of what happened there. You've got a kid tied to, like some sort of heating device or something. And he's like trying to saw his arm off because he can't get out. It's basically the idea that the father went completely crazy and just killed everybody. And Sophia goes into a case of helping. She's there going, these souls are trapped here. I can't just leave and not do anything and just leave them in this circle of hell where they are just repeating the day that they died over and over and over again, like some sort of disturbing Groundhog Day. But yeah, so she goes in and she loses her connection with Lunis while she's in the house because of the energy in the house. And Lunis does try to warn her of something, but she doesn't get the message until afterwards, and she's like, oh, that's what I did, because it turns out she wasn't supposed to interfere, she wasn't supposed to help the ghosts, but it was in her nature to do that, so she does, and she finds a way to get them out of that hell. I really like that part of the storyline, just seeing how Sophia could help a family even in death. That sounds really like poignant or something, doesn't it? But yeah, just seeing the way that her mind works into that and seeing how she was able to help a family even though they had died. And it turns out everything comes back to her father's book. Because of the energy in the house, she actually is able to communicate with her father because he's in the house, because his desk and his book are in there. And in that book are the words that her father wrote down. So I thought that was a really special moment to read, Sophia having that connection with the father that she never really knew through an energy in a house which allowed her to do that. Does that make any sense? But yeah, I just thought that moment was actually quite sweet in reference to what was technically a Halloweeny part of the story, where she's on a mission to save something from a haunted house, and she ends up saving more than just the object that she went to retrieve, because the object is able to save the family that are trapped in this murderous Groundhog Day. Yeah, can you tell I am loving these books so much? Yeah, so that's Cheer the Dragon, Exceptional Sophia Beaufont. That is the front cover of this book. I hope this is entertaining for you guys, seeing me unravel these books, and the fact that I am doing more than one series at a time at this point, because I'm doing 2 completely different fantasy series. When you've got the Exceptional Sophia Beaufont, and then I'm also reading the Chronicles of Narnia. They've both got that fantasy thing to them, but they are so different in a way, even though I must admit, the last Narnia book that I read had dragons in it. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you tomorrow with another day of Vlogmas. Bye!